Today on Forbes College Financial Grades 2025, America's Strongest and Weakest Schools. With an executive order looming to dismantle the Department of Education, it's pretty clear that higher education is high on President Trump's hit list. Already the administration's January 27th federal funding freeze, which was put on hold by a court injunction in late February, as well as a congressional push to tax wealthy college endowments, has institutions scrambling to map out their financial futures. Even without Trump, the nation's bloated offering of nearly 6,000 colleges and universities was facing a dire demand and supply problem. According to demographers, the number of graduating high school students in the United States is about to drop precipitously and continue to decline for up to 15 years. Marjorie Haas, the president of the Council of Independent Colleges and former president of Rhodes College in Memphis, Tennessee, says that college leaders have had more than a decade to prepare for the so-called enrollment cliff, but Trump's full-on assault could be the black swan that finally sends struggling tuition-dependent schools to the graveyard. She warns, quote, "The current and unexpected threats to colleges, such as radical cuts to federal funding of research and student aid, are more immediately likely to spur campus disasters than the more gradual and foreseeable demographic shifts." Which colleges will survive the political and demographic gauntlet? Each year, since 2013, Forbes has examined the balance sheet health and operating soundness of the nation's private colleges with our college financial grades ranking. To create the school grades, we use the latest available financial data from the National Center for Education Statistics, which covers the fiscal year ending in June 2023. In total, we graded 868 private, not-for-profit colleges that enroll at least 500 students. 94 schools earned at least an A, up from 54 last year. Of those, 51 earned an A+, including perennial financial heavyweights like Stanford, Grinnell, Yale, and Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. But lesser-known schools like liberal arts bastion St. John's College in Annapolis, Maryland, Davis and Elkins College, nestled in the Appalachians of West Virginia, and McPherson College in Kansas, known among classic car aficionados for its automotive restoration major, are also in excellent financial health. That's the good news. Unfortunately, nearly half of the private colleges and universities in America are C students at best financially. These schools are likely to be tuition dependent, squeaking by each year much like a household living paycheck to paycheck. 148 schools earned a D, the lowest possible grade. These colleges, including Painesville, Ohio's Lake Erie College, which has been struggling to cover its debt payments, and Catholic-affiliated Marymount University in Virginia, are in dire financial shape with uncertain futures. In January, the Trump administration attempted to freeze billions in federal spending, including grant funding from the National Institutes of Health and the National Science Foundation, two significant sponsors of colleges' research operations. Weeks later, the NIH announced it would cap money for facilities and administrative, or F&A, costs at 15% of grant funding. A 15% cap would be a significant cut for most recipient schools. Johns Hopkins University, the largest university beneficiary of NIH funding, has a 63.75% F&A rate for federal government grants and contracts. The cuts could cost the elite private university $420 million per year. On Thursday, the university announced it would be slashing 2,000 jobs after the Trump administration terminated $800 million in grants to the academic institution. Columbia University's rate is 64.5%, potentially costing it $313 million. Just last week, the Trump administration slashed $400 million in federal funding to the university. The largest research universities, including Johns Hopkins, have big multi-million-dollar endowments that could help mitigate the impact of federal funding declines, but smaller colleges don't have this cushion. Clark Atlanta University in Georgia, graded B on the Forbes Financial Health ranking, Duquesne University in Pennsylvania, also with a B, and the New School in New York, which gets a C+, are all designated research universities according to the Carnegie classification, but have endowments worth far less than $1 billion. Tiny Wiley University in Marshall, Texas, rated C, was formed in 1873 by the Methodist Episcopal Church and the Freedmen's Aid Society to educate freed enslaved people. The HBCU, whose 1930s-era debate team was depicted in a 2007 movie directed by and starring Denzel Washington, counts on federal government funding for 32% of its $20 million in annual core revenues. For full coverage and to see the whole list of college financial grades, check out Emma Whitford's piece on forbes.com.